Hi guys, right, what are we talking about in this video? Well, we're talking about arrow nocks. Um, how tight should they be, or loose should they be, and how to adjust them as well. So basically, arrow nocks, why are they important? Because they're the things that attach your string to your arrow and also allow the bow to transfer energy from the bow to the arrow and then basically send it flying down range. Now, they need to be correctly fitted. Couple of reasons. If they're too tight, you can have all sorts of problems with accuracy. Basically because if they're too tight on the string, as you draw back, now some people say this is a good thing, but it's not, believe me, it's not. You can actually twist the string, which can put a torque into the arrows, which can affect, as that torque unwinds when you release the string, it can affect the accuracy of the arrow. That's one reason. If it's too tight, again, when you release the arrow, the way it's supposed to work is that as you draw the arrow back and you loose, the arrow, sorry, the string moves forward under the tension of the bow until it gets to its brace height, but it continues on for a while. Now in some cases that could be a few inches, some cases maybe half an inch, it depends on the power of the bow and speed of the bow and things like that. But either way it's going to extend forward. Now it's at this point here, it's at the point where the string stops moving forward and starts moving back that the arrow is released. Now if you have an arrow with a nock which is too tight, as the arrow goes forward, sorry, as the string goes forward and then reaches its natural stopping point and starts coming back, it can actually bring the arrow back with it a little bit. In extreme cases, that can fling the arrow off to one side as it rebounds. In best case scenarios, it only comes back a little tiny bit, but it reduces the velocity of the arrow and can impart a bit of a wiggle to the. So you don't want them too tight. And if it's too loose, again, you have problems with too loose. When you draw, you can actually, without realizing, especially if you're shooting outside the bow, or maybe you start or you draw by holding the arrow with your thumb or your finger just until you put a bit of tension on it, you can inadvertently, see if I can actually do it here, you can inadvertently pull the string off the arrow. And then you end up essentially dry firing the bow. Worst case scenario, if it comes off, the string can actually fly forward into the nock and it's covering about half an inch, hits the back of the nock, it can actually destroy the nock while firing the arrow. So that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, well, an even worse one, is it misses the nock completely and dry fires and snaps the bow and you get injured. So you don't want them too loose either. Now, how can you test? Now, there are loads of things on YouTube and on the internet saying how to test them, ranging from the sublime to the ridiculous. I mean, the silliest one I've seen was to knock an arrow onto the string. Can't believe this guy. Pull the string back about an inch and fire it. And if the arrow comes off the string, nice and evenly at that 1 inch draw length, yeah, your nocks are correct apparently. I've never heard anything so silly in my life. I mean, for one thing, you're firing the bow. That will go 5 or 6 feet, at least. Even just a 1 inch draw. It's a silly thing to do. Please don't do that. So that's ridiculous. The most commonly used test for nocks, for nock fit, is basically observation. Some people will espouse a 4, 5, 6 steps, consisting of measuring the wiggle room from left to right, rotation of the string inside the nock, all sorts of things like that. But that's too complicated. You don't need that. And then they'll go to the nock test on the string. That's probably the most common that everybody does. The problem with most of the nock tests that people do is it won't tell you if the knock's too loose. It will only tell you if it's too tight. As in, when you suspend the string, hit the ball, the arrow drops off. That just means it's not too tight. So how do you tell if it's too loose? Right, well, the way I do it will tell you that. So you take the arrow, and now you're holding the string, not the bow. Knock the arrow onto the string, in your normal shooting point, on the set of serving, and then just tap the bow, tap the string, about 2 or 3 inches down. If it falls off, it's too loose. Now that one's a little bit borderline, because I had to hit it twice. Let's try it with this one. Again, falls off the string, it's too loose. I'll try one which I know is fine. Which I think it is. I'm probably make myself out to be a liar now. See, no problems at all. That's staying on. So you know it's not too loose. But you don't know whether it's too tight or not. So the next stage is you do the normal knock test, but by holding the bow. And then, about 1 inch along, if it falls off, it's good. So, simple knock test, which will tell you both whether it's too tight or too loose. So if it's on the string, and you hit it and it stays on while you're holding the string, because it dampens out all the vibrations, that is not too loose. If it comes off, it's too loose. Yeah? But you don't want it too tight. So, holding onto the bow this time, so that the string is free to vibrate. If it comes off, it's not too tight. There you go. Quick and easy test for fit. Now, if you have one that's too loose, what do you do? Well, the vast majority of plastic nocks are made out of thermoplastics, ABS, that sort of thing. And the easiest way to fix them, to tighten them up, is simply dip them in boiling water for about 20-30 seconds, no more. Put them onto the string next to your knocking point, where you would normally shoot from, and then just simply nip together. Nip the two prongs, the two sides of the knocking point together. The only thing you've got to be careful of is that you squeeze them together equally. You don't want to squeeze one side more than the other and end up with a wonky knock. But just simply the heat from my fingers should be enough to demonstrate the difference. I mean, this was the arrow that fell off dead easily. So, see, now just the heat from my fingers with a little bit of pressure has improved that. It won't stay like that, basically because there's not enough heat gone into it to make a permanent change. But there you go. It's a quick and easy demonstration what you can do to adjust the nocks and to make sure they fit properly. So just a quick recap. Holding the string, knock the arrow, hit the string. If it falls off while you're holding the string, it's too loose. Then hold the bow, and it needs to, if it doesn't fall off then, it's too tight. You get the idea? Cool, nice one. Right, so hope you found that interesting, hope you found it useful. We shall talk again soon. Cheers guys.